And from the time I was born into a role as the family fixer. I was born into a role that I didn't know that I was doing. I didn't even know that was a thing, that a person's can be born with a job. And when you take the time to kind of listen to what the universe is saying to you about the role that you've been given, you take a minute and really appreciate the fact that you sometimes have no control over what the universe wants for you. I don't know, what do they always say? If you want to make a plan, God will laugh in your face because you always think that you know what's best for yourself, and you actually don't. The universe is so much bigger than what we make it out to be. So yesterday, I was listening to a playlist, and I realized that the playlist was sent to me by the universe. And it happens a lot. Like, it happens a lot where the universe is telling me something, but I don't know how to listen to it, especially when you grow up in a household that was very religious. Spirituality, or not following the rules, was something I didn't do. I always followed the rules. I realized I was a people pleaser. I realized that I was a fixer. I realized I was the one everybody would come to from a young age with their problems. When you grow up in a dysfunctional environment that was riddled with physical and sexual abuse, you learn how to get along. You learn how to go through the motions. But when you literally shut the world out and listen, I realized in grade 6, I was being told that I was the friend that people called on. I was the friend that when someone was having a problem, they would call me to listen. So it's like I became the keeper of people's stories very early on. And I didn't think that was a thing. And then I stopped and I listened more to the universe. And I remember my mother saying to me that from the time I was 8 years old, I became her personal counselor, her confidant, the one that she would tell problems to as an adult. Sorry, she was the adult and I was the child. And I, again, didn't think it was a big deal. I thought, isn't that what every good child does? They listen to when their parent was having a bad day and just took it in. And then I listened more because these were the people that had counted on me to be their confidant. But now, when the universe needed me to count on them, I was abandoned by them. There's nothing like being abandoned by your own mother. The same mother that you protected for years through all the abuse. When the person who raised you starts listening to the outside voices because she was so programmed that if it was said on the radio, if it was said on the TV, if it was said by the media, it has to be the truth because they would never lie to you. That's not how she was raised. But I had to go around the right people to get me to realize that her story was not my story. That even though I wanted her to show up for me, to protect me, That wasn't a role that she was used to. She, her entire life, had come to me, the child, for her security. And I no longer played that role for her anymore. When the biological sister who abandoned me, was the one that asked me to rescue her from a domestic situation in a Mexican hotel room, but now abandoned me when I needed reassurance by saying, take my picture off Facebook, because she no longer wanted to be associated with me. It was like a punch in the stomach, because I thought to myself, I was the little girl that used to jump on top of you when your own dad was raping you to stop the abuse. I was the little girl at 8 years old that would throw my entire body on top of her body. At 14, when she got in trouble for wearing too much makeup to school and was being kicked in the stomach by her own father, I threw my body on top of her to protect her. And now I was being erased. I was the person. I was their confidant. I was their rescuer. But when I needed rescuing, I was abandoned by the mother and the siblings who I protected. I knew people found that I could tell their stories. I found that I could get out of people things that they sometimes didn't even want to say. And when people said to me I was doing it in a way that made them feel seen, I felt wonderful. And I knew that working with children would be the way to go, because I knew that I was a child that people forgot. Sometimes what our parents are going through, they don't have the capacity to help us, even though our expectations are that they are our mother, that they are our father, that they are our older siblings. But if they have been traumatized and abused, how can they help us? Am I being unrealistic with my expectations? And I need to follow the path that the universe has given me, not because that's bigger than me, more than the path of the family that I've been given. And I started to listen more, but I did it in a very Jamaican way. I did it in silence. Like, I never told them that I felt like I had these gifts, because I didn't want to be shamed for having it. So very early on, like if you listened to my podcast a few weeks ago, you heard that 3 years ago I had a psychic reading. And this psychic reading told me that to let my hair down and just listen. Don't force it. That if I wanted to be doing something online, to just go for it. I didn't have any idea. I was not that creative type. I just found out I had dyslexia. I felt stupid. I didn't feel like the smartest voice in the room because I was held back because of my dyslexia. I didn't know it was a gift. I thought it was a burden. So I never felt like the smartest one in the room. The two smartest people that I know are my husband and my daughter. Felt was a pillar of knowledge. Everyone came to him. Good people looked up to him. Bad people looked up to him. People knew he was that solid guy that they could come to. And I watched how he evolved his friendships. I watched how he had friends that he had known all the way from kindergarten. I remember him going on one of his first early on investigations because someone had something, I think that, like it was a rob, like something was stolen from this person. He remember saying to me was that the person that was the victim, he looked into their face a little closer and he remembered that this victim was somebody in his division that he had gone to school with, kindergarten with. He remembers playing Star Wars with this person who was having a very bad day. And he remembers that he played Chewbacca in the kindergarten playground with this person. And I thought that was one of the cutest stories because he just connected with a victim. And I saw that that was something special he had. He never thought that one day connecting with people is going to be the one thing that people tried to unravel him for. Back up to my story. Like I said to you, the reason I used him was because I thought he was one of the smartest people. So when our life became unraveled, I remember him looking at me and saying that he knew everything was going to be okay because I was so good at fixing problems. And for the first time, I stopped and listened. And I was like, huh? What do you mean? I'm the one that fixes the problems. And I took it in for the first time. How could one of the smartest people I know think I'm the one that's going to make everything okay? So I sat in that truth for the longest time. And then I probably ignored it. But then I listened to the next smartest person I know, which was my daughter. Not that my boys aren't smart. My boys are very smart. But I always thought intellectually smart is the way that the world judged us. And she was somebody that not only finished university, but was now in med school and now becoming an OBGYN and having to do it in a foreign country because she wasn't a part of the 1% that got perfect med. Is it her MCAT wasn't 100%, that I had to send my child to a foreign country to become a doctor. She's a Canadian having to go to school in Ireland where her entire class is made up of Canadians being charged 4 times the price to go to med school to come back here. But she's smart and she was willing to do it. And when we were having to find $100,000 to pay for med school, we used every bit of our line of credit to make sure that she didn't miss out on this amazing opportunity. And when we ran out of money, because it was now costing us $100,000 to have our Canadian and Irish med school versus $25,000 here, I was never going to lose that opportunity for her. We used our line of credit to make it happen. And in 4th year, I was running out of money for her to finish. And my body was just coming down with so much pain. And my fibromyalgia and my chronic pain was at its worst because I didn't know where I was going to find the money to get her through 4th year. And again, I turned to the universe and I asked her, were you ever worried that I wouldn't figure out how to get you a loan to get you through 4th year, to get you back to Canada, to get my baby home? And she said, being the smartest person I know, no, I knew you could do it. I knew you'd find that money to make sure that I would get through med school. So I am having a wonderful conversation today with another senior officer, and I want to hear more about the stories. So how long were you a police officer for?
35 years.
Yeah, what year did you start policing?
I started out of high school, 1964, June 23rd.
And how is policing, because you have a son and a grandson who are police officers. How has policing changed, do you think? In your point of view, how has policing changed from the time when you were doing it, say, to the time when your son and now your grandson? What do you think?
Courts are definitely lean towards the accused rather than the victim. The
Hmm.
victim's kind of pushed aside, in my opinion.
Hmm.
And
So, do you feel that from the time when you were first policing to now, officers' hands have been tied more?
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind at all.
Yeah. So is it more that they're not able to do the job that they were supposed to? And what do you think caused that? Do you think it's just a change in times or politics? What do you think?
Oh, it's politics.
Politics. Okay.
It is. It is. They're taking away all the rights of the officer and the victims.
Got you. Something that I've noticed, especially being a police wife, that has changed is, how did people deal with PTSD back then? Or is that something that was never talked about amongst officers? Like, tell me about
Never,
that.
never, ever mentioned.
Never
Not,
ever.
not at all. It was a sign of weakness.
Wow. You would have your Christmas parties. And I think your son mentioned that one time someone committed suicide at the Christmas party.
That night, and he come to our Christmas party. Just showed up
So the guy that was flirting with the
with
officer's girlfriend showed up at your Christmas party.
yeah,
Okay.
and he just came into the front of the hall, and he asked to speak to my partner,
Right.
and he went and spoke to him,
Uh-huh.
and his wife, his living girlfriend, went over with him,
Uh-huh.
spoke to him, and the guy was kind of trying to get my partner to go outside into the parking lot to fight.
Oh shit.
And
Okay.
my partner said, "You two go outside, solve what's going on." And said to his wife, he said, "Either go with him or come back in. It's your choice. I'll see
Wow.
you at home."
Wow.
And when they were going out, the fella threw his police ID up into the overhang inside the hall.
Uh-huh.
He went out to the car to talk, and he drove down to, I think it was the Cherry Beach area,
Okay.
and we're talking, and she told him, that this is it. I'm staying with my husband.
Okay.
And he pulled out his gun and blew his brains out
In front of her?
right in front of her.
Oh my God.
So he
Oh
went
my
to the
God.
morgue, and she went to, I think it was St. Mike's. They had her in the shrink ward there for a couple of weeks.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, okay, so something like that happens. You guys find out that, how is it dealt with? Like for her, like you said, so she was in the shrink ward. That's how they dealt with her trauma.
Oh yeah. Apparently she was really screwed up.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Really.
Okay, so that was how you guys dealt with it, by
Yeah.
almost like shrugging it off. It's just another day on the job
Yeah.
and making light of it.
Yeah.
Do you guys, okay, do you have any other like crazy stories or things that have happened that people would be surprised how things have changed? Or, I love your stories.
Yeah. Here's one. So I said to the one fella, "Don't, you're not taking your car home. We'll drive you home."
Okay.
And he drove him out to Scarborough, from
Right.
downtown Toronto all the way out to Scarborough.
Right.
Now his house was like one of those spaghetti in places.
Uh-huh.
It's all weird corners and bends and everything.
Right.
You never, and there was no GPS then.
Okay.
So you're trying to find your way using a map guide if you have one,
Good
and if
point.
not, he's supposed to direct us.
Okay.
Well, he kept joking, and he was leading them all around this development.
Oh wow.
He wouldn't tell. He'd say, "Jerry, you make a left and make a right." Oh, no, that's not my house. And then you get, oh, make it, and he did this a couple of times.
Right.
Finally, they said, "We know you're close to home. We're kicking you out.
Oh.
You don't tell us where you are. We're no." He was the one who was. We were driving home. He was one. He was another officer.
Got you.
They were driving him home.
Got you. That's the one who had a bit too much to
And he
drink.
was so drunk he was misdirecting them, but he was doing it intentionally as a joke.
Oh, okay.
And these guys got tired of it after a while because
Yeah.
they had finished a shift of work and they
Right.
wanted to go home.
Yeah.
So they kicked him out of the car. Well, apparently that was in the, I don't know what time it would be, but it doesn't matter. But a few hours later, He finally makes it home,
Mm-hmm.
and there's nobody home.
Mm-hmm.
He goes down and he goes in the house, and we figure he fell down the stairs.
Okay.
And he's in the basement, laying at the bottom of the stairs,
Okay.
semi-conscious.
Oh shit.
And his daughter comes home, who's in her 20s,
Uh-huh.
sees her dad, goes downstairs. Dad, are you okay? And he said, all he said is, I never thought they'd do it to me. So now she calls the police, and they say that somebody beat him up.
Oh.
So, well, it would be your assumption. That's when he says, I never thought they'd do it to me.
Right.
So now he's on the verge of dying. That he's rushed to the hospital, critical condition with his bump in the head.
Yeah.
And they call the guys into work, the guys that drove him home.
Mm-hmm.
They interviewed them. They had the homicide squad there.
And he died?
No, he was, but he was in critical. They thought he might.
Got you.
And because it was police related, they brought in the big guns.
Okay, got you.
And so they had the guys in there on overtime being interviewed. The car that they were driving was taken to forensic sciences and checked.
Mm-hmm.
And if he had died, they all would have been charged with something. And he come through with it.
Right.
And what he
he told them what happened.
Well, what he said, I said, I didn't think they'd do it to me.
Right.
It was drive away and leave standing at the curb. So it was misunderstood.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All because of that. Timeline where an officer was taken hostage. I remember that. Am I saying it right? An officer was taken hostage that you guys, I don't know if there was something on TV about it, and they eventually killed him. It was like a gang or something. Do you remember a story like that?
Well, I remember one, I think the guy's name was Goldsmith or Goldworthy or something like that.
Right.
He went to a call. It was a holdup in progress in a spaghetti factory type of place.
Okay.
Dinner eating place. And he went in by himself, and the bad guys were there, and they were armed.
Oh shit.
And there was firing went on.
Uh-huh.
And he was hit, and he fell down, and other officers come in, but they couldn't get to him because he was between the bad guys and the rest of the officers.
Okay.
And unfortunately, he wasn't killed instantly, but he bled to death before they. At the time, you're trying to do your job.
Right.
You're trying to get him out to safety, and you're trying to, make sure the bad guys don't hit you.
Yeah.
Keep them. They don't want to lose them.
Yeah. And he ended up bleeding to death.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
Yeah, we went through a bad period there.
When? Tell me about it.
Under pressure, you're only about 18% of what your bullets you fire actually hit.
Wow.
The officers was there.
Okay.
And he fired something like 6 bullets and only 2 hit.
Wow.
And you'd call it professional shooting.
Wow.
He'd probably shoot a bullseye at 50 feet 8 out of 10 times. The bullseye's only about 3 inches in the round.
So what happened in that incident with the streetcar?
Just pressure.
Do you remember?
Just
a bad guy on a streetcar that was shooting?
Oh yeah, and he had a weapon, and they end up the officer drove his gun. He did hit him, but
so your son told me about a shooting, and he said right away, instead of dealing with the officer who's now been traumatized that he's had to shoot somebody, they right away were worried about the optics, about how it was going to look to other people. Do you find that the older generation or your generation or, your sons they were there for the officers more, where now they're trying to be more, oh my God, what is it going to look like to the public?
I think you've explained it very well, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Because back then, you got to remember, when I started the job, police officers were liked by the public. The public backed them 100%.
Right.
And if the public backed them, then their bosses could back them.
Okay.
And as this started to deteriorate as time went on, you got less and less backing.
Makes
sense. Simple as that.
So what do you think because for someone who's seen now 3 generations, what do you think has changed? What is it? Those newspapers again putting out the wrong stories, and then the public starts to not believe, and so then that the public's backing of you guys has gone down? What do you think has changed?
Once again, a little bit is news media. Like
Okay.
they pick and choose what they want to put out, and they can make it lean towards the sound. They want to make it look
Right.
spectacular.
They want the yeah,
That
sensationalize it,
exactly.
right? Yeah.
That's the main
That's
thing.
what's going to sell papers.
That does that part, but I have to go back to the courts themselves.
Why do you think it was? Was it again the PTSD not being handled, or do you think that, like, I'm just curious, what
It,
why do you think it was
it
that?
has to be. It
Has to be.
has to be.
Okay.
PTSD was not recognized. They had some little group there says, if you're struggling, you have a problem, come and talk to us.
But it would
And
probably be a shame thing, right? You'd be
well,
ashamed to go and talk to somebody, a therapist or whatever.
you wouldn't make it known,
Right.
but most of us didn't trust them either.
Okay, why?
Well, their management, and
Oh.
if you were going for promotion and they saw something like that, you're not going to get promoted.
Wow.
So
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
So, oh my God, that's actually a good one. So explain that to me. So because you took the time to look out for your mental health,
Yeah.
you could lose out on a promotion because of that.
I go in and I say I've got issues and it's bothering me, and it's supposed to be between you and that person. But everybody knows the police department higher ups can get in anything they want, and that's the way it was. So you didn't trust them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That totally makes sense. So now you don't trust the people that you're supposed to be talking to, and that would obviously lead to the higher suicides.
Yeah.
That's
Because people just wouldn't go and do it.
wow.
And most of the guys, I'd say most of the ones that committed suicide, the ones I knew, half of them was they were in a job where they could get promoted, like a detective constable.
Right.
And if he stays in there for a couple of years, beyond that, they normally would promote you,
Right.
or put you back in uniform, which
Right.
is fine.
Right.
And so a couple of those were those. And another fella, I just
And was it
remember,
because they couldn't handle the fact that they didn't get the promotion? Or what do you
no,
think?
they hadn't got to the point yet of getting the promotion, but
Okay.
it was because they always later on you always say I should have seen that,
Right.
because you're not looking for it.
Right.
So I hadn't seen it at all.
Right.
I worked with a couple of the guys.
Right.
They killed themselves.
And you never, and they never left a note. They never
No.
said why.
No.
Do they mostly? Someone asked me this question: is it, if most police officers are going to kill themselves, is it usually their own service gun they use, or their own gun, a gun shooting for suicide?
One, two were handguns, and I knew one jumped in front of a subway train.
Oh shit!
That was a strange one because he was working downtown out of headquarters, and that particular day, so I was told by sources that are sure reliable, that he got up, he was working an afternoon shift, got up, went out, washed his car, did some things around the house, got up, went inside, had a shower, shave and shower, dressed up in his business suit, went to the subway station and jumped in front of the train.
Wow.
It's a weird one.
Were these family people? Were they married, like men with
That
kids?
That guy was. The other one, I won't mention name as you said. That he was a plainclothes officer, and I don't know what got him, but he ran into parked his car rurally, went into a field, sat down, and blew his brains out.
Wow.
And then another guy, I actually worked with him. He trained me in the plainclothes office, and he worked. I was like a workaholic. He wanted a promotion in the worst way. He came back to work. They gave him his gun. Went back to work in the headquarters. Went in the washroom, men's washroom, blew his brains out.
Wow.
So you just don't know.
You don't know.
No, you don't know.
The one thing too that I noticed that is very different this time is that, for instance, when something like that happened, I'm sure, just like what you see, like you guys rally around each other. Where when things happened with your son, he's felt abandoned by the people that he had looked out for so long, where he, so I'm pretty sure, is that also a difference now? if something happens to a police family, you guys rally around them,
Yeah.
right? Why why do you think now it's different, that the other
Oh,
people don't rally around the officer who's going through the bad time, or his family?
no, I think associated him to organized crime.
Mm-hmm.
Well, right away, you don't know if somebody you're working with or is honest or not.
Mm-hmm.
But he was crucified by the news media.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody he worked with probably thought, I didn't think he was that crooked.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now it's found out he wasn't.
Exactly.
It's all bullshit.
Right.
And he doesn't. He says, "Oh, I don't care." Well, I did,
Mm-hmm.
and I so
No, you got it, babe. Dad, you got this. You got this. Tell me your truth. Speak your truth.
that bothered me.
I know, Dad. Talk your truth. Because I'm going to put it out there so that the world understands what it means.
Yeah, I put together a letter, and I sent it to all the police officers that I knew
Mm-hmm.
that knew him, and explained it. I got a lot of comments coming back saying I didn't believe it from the start. I knew he wasn't like that. It was shocking, and yes, he was crucified.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sorry. Sorry, go ahead.
basically, they all the ones I sent out, I'd say 50% replied, and they're all positive. But he was crucified and by the other people off the job.
Mm-hmm.
I know he said when he went to turn in guns and bury, some officer made a comment about you should be ashamed of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wish we could get that officer and tell him that you deserve a big apology to this fellow. Have 30 years on and a good policeman.
Mm-hmm.
Took more guns off the street than this guy had probably ever seen in his
Mm-hmm.
life,
Mm-hmm.
and he gets shit upon
Mm-hmm.
by somebody who doesn't even know him.
Mm-hmm.
So that bothers me. He was doing the same as the public was,
Mm-hmm.
and then when everything comes out that he not associated at all, you get a little 4 lines and halfway back in the newspaper. That part's never changed.
No.
Never changed, and it just bothered me, a lot.
Finding your center, returning to your spiritual core. There is a place within you that has always known everything about you and everything you need to know. This place existed before your name, before the world told you who to be, before you were derailed by betrayal, confusion, or applause. Although it is referred to often, perhaps as your center or the real you, your spiritual core is not something you can be taught. It is a truth you remember. It is the compass of the soul, a divine code that is etched into your being. That etching is like a song being sung to you and for you as you move through every experience of life. No matter how complex or painful the situation may seem, this song is playing on repeat. The words of the song are, if only you knew how much I do love you. That love, which has never, can never, and will never leave you, is your spiritual core. How do you recognize your spiritual core? I recall a woman who shared with me that when she was 5 years old, her parents were fighting in the living room. Plates were being thrown, doors were being slammed. Her father's voice boomed like thunder, and her mother's cry filled the house like broken glass. I listened to her intently because her story was also my story. Her learning was my learning. Her healing was my healing because we are all connected at the core. She said that she was small, too small to stop, change, or fix what was unfolding before her, so she crawled into a dark linen closet, wrapped herself in a towel, and whispered, "God, if you're real, hold me now." She didn't know why she said it. Her parents had not taught her how to pray, but somehow she knew. Something in her knew years later. She would understand that moment as her first encounter with her spiritual core, the unshakable part of her that believed in something greater, even in the dark. I remember the first time I encountered my core. I was about 5, and my brother was having a severe asthma attack, which necessitated yet another mad dash to the emergency room. When the taxi screeched to a halt in front of the hospital, my father and stepmother threw the doors open, scooped up my brother, and ran into the emergency room, leaving me sitting in the back of the taxi. I don't remember the driver saying anything because he was as shocked as I was, but something within me spoke to me. It said, "You are okay. You've been here before. You know where to go and what to do." And I did. So I did. The driver helped me out of the car. I walked into the emergency room and sat in my usual seat by the vending machine. When my stepmother came looking for me, she sat down next to me and said, "He's going to be all right." She didn't apologize for leaving me in the car, but she gave me a nickel to buy some candy from the vending machine. Your spiritual core is not something you earn. It is not reserved for the holy, the healed, or the well-behaved. It is the inner seat of truth and trust that has always been present. Some people discover it in silence, others in times of crisis. Often, we discover our spiritual core through the very experience that we believe has come to separate us from ourselves. It is at that exact time, in the most troubling experience, that our spiritual core whispers, "Even now, you are not alone. Even here, there is a way through. Even this I can use for your remembering." Imagine you are on a yacht, cruising on a vast ocean, and the sky grows dark. Is not reserved for the holy, the healed, or the well-behaved. It is the inner seat of truth and trust that has always been present. Some people discover it in silence, others in times of crisis. Often, we discover our spiritual core through the very experience that we believe has come to separate us from ourselves. It is at that exact time, in the most troubling experience, that our spiritual core whispers, "Even now, you are not alone. Even here, there is a way through. Even this I can use for your remembering." Imagine you are on a yacht, cruising on a vast ocean, and the sky grows dark. The waves rise, slamming furiously into the side of the yacht. You lose sight of the shore and you lose your footing. You are being tossed around the deck like a rag doll. In that moment, your intellect and all your degrees cannot save you. Your ego panics. Your conditioning fails. Then there it is, like a compass on your chest. But it is within you. It does not scream. It does not demand. If and when you hear it, it doesn't even frighten you. It simply turns you toward what is true. It tells you what to do and what not to do. That is your spiritual core. It does not promise you comfort or ease. It gives you direction. It does not ask for your approval or agreement. It offers you alignment. Think back to a moment in your life when everything was unclear, perhaps chaotic or frightening, yet something inside you knew. Maybe you left the job, or maybe you said yes to the move, the call, the risk. Maybe you finally told the truth. That knowing, that pull, that song, that whisper, which felt more like a remembrance, was your spiritual core. In a world that teaches you to outsource truth, to obey demands, and to numb the ache of disconnection, your core remains intact, available, and accessible. It is the sacred place where your soul and the divine are still in conversation. All it asks is that you pause long enough to listen. You can begin spiritual hygiene without being fully grounded in your core, but your practice will be limited to the surface level. It will be like dusting the altar without ever entering the sanctuary, like lighting candles for a God you do not speak to, like scrubbing the mirror but never looking into your own eyes. When you are not anchored in your spiritual core, spiritual hygiene becomes a ritual of control rather than communion. You may perform the spiritual cleansing, but not listen to what the residue is trying to teach you. You may pray, smudge, bathe, or affirm, but still feel foggy, fragmented, or off. Without your core being activated, you are clearing energy without direction. You are tending to the field without asking, what am I protecting? What am I remembering? What sacred truth am I making space for? Spiritual hygiene without connection to your core is like washing your hands when you are afraid of water. You are spiritually misaligned. Misalignment happens when you perform rituals, for example, praying, meditation, even attending church, while denying the emotions that need to be released. It happens when you strive for connection to the divine while ignoring the fracture within. You can pray while misaligned. You can teach, serve, lead, and love while misaligned. Unfortunately, your actions will feel hollow. They will echo as if the spirit of your intention has not caught up with the performance you deliver. You can tell that you are not living from or choosing from your core when your decisions lack clarity. You say yes when you mean no. You say I'm fine when you're unraveling. You ask others for answers your soul already knows. Your energy leaks. You become emotionally drained without understanding why. You tend to attract confusion, chaos, or chronic friction in your relationships. You are constantly managing how you think you are being seen because you no longer know who you are. You struggle to find joy or peace. Even in success, something feels hollow. Even in rest, you are restless. Even in prayer, you feel disconnected because you are speaking from the mind, not the core. You repeat the same painful cycles. Misalignment creates loops. You date the same lesson in different bodies. You find yourself in spaces that shrink you, jobs that drain you, and dynamics that dishonor you. When you live misaligned with your core, you cannot access the full wisdom of your soul. Instead, you are fending for yourself with intellect, ego, and at its worst, trauma. Your spiritual core is the why behind every spiritual hygiene practice. It is the truth you are returning to when you mentally or physically detox, when you journal, when you cry, when you fast, when you forgive. The core gives you direction. It gives you the courage to say, this energy or person or situation must go. because it is not aligned with who I truly am. This pattern ends here because I am no longer a match for it. This boundary is sacred, not because I am angry, but because I am holy. Spiritual hygiene is meant to address the most common forms of spiritual misalignment that happen when you silence the voice of your heart to avoid rejection or maintain belonging. You have inherited beliefs or roles that no longer match your lived truth. You have abandoned yourself bit by bit to stay safe, be accepted, or maintain the illusion of control. Sometimes the misalignment happens slowly. Sometimes it happens all at once after betrayal, burnout, trauma, or awakening. In all cases, it leaves you far from home, far from your heart. The good news is that no matter how far you drift, your spiritual core never leaves you. It waits to welcome you back to your center. It waits until you choose to come home. The compass within, heart versus intellect. Your spiritual core is connected to your heart, not your physical heart, not the heart that beats only blood, but the heart as the seat of the soul. This is why we often default to the mind and the intellect. Many of us have broken hearts. The way our survival strategy functions, we think about what we should feel and bypass what we know in our core. Your heart will always tell the truth. It is the center of knowing, the sanctuary of divine communion. On the other hand, the intellect will lie to you, not because it is bad or wrong. It distorts the truth because it is limited. The intellect is attached to third dimensional reality. It depends on what it sees, what it hears, what it can measure or understand. It asks, where is God when children are dying? And why do good people suffer? The heart doesn't need these answers. It knows love. The heart recognizes truth even when the facts don't make sense. It trusts what the mind cannot grasp. The mind is not the temple of revelation. It is the chamber of analysis. The soul does not speak in bullet points. It speaks in resonance. Your spiritual core is not accessed through facts. It is accessed through awareness, truth, and energy. To live from this place, we must renew the mind of the soul, which is the heart, not the brain. In this very moment, your mind is probably thinking, but wait a minute. You said earlier that the mind is an altar and that I must remove illegitimate leaders so that my mind would be sacred. Now you are saying that the mind is a liar, unreliable. Please explain. This is a legitimate concern, so let us examine it step by step. Imagine that you are a castle. Your brain is the control room. It helps move your arms, speak words, solve puzzles, and remembers what time dinner is served. Your mind is like a room where all your thoughts live. This is the part of you that asks questions, makes decisions, and tries to figure out the world. Your consciousness is the light inside the castle that never goes out. It is not a room. It is the presence that sees all, feels all, and remembers who you are at your spiritual core. That is the most basic, simplest explanation. Let us go another step farther. The brain, a helpful tool. The brain is a physical instrument. Spiritual hygiene acknowledges the brain as a part of the body's sacred design. It is like your body's computer. It helps you function. It's smart and fast. However, despite its outstanding functionality, the brain does not know, recognize, or understand the truth of your soul. It can store information, but it cannot access what is sacred. The brain says, let's figure this out. Let's organize the information. Let's protect you from the potential harm. The brain then digs through the stored files and retrieves what it believes is required to keep you safe from harm. That is its priority. The mind, the thinking chamber. The mind is an energetic and emotional chamber that holds memories, judgments, comparisons, beliefs, and attachments. The mind is where thoughts swirl like clouds. This is useful when you need to analyze, compare, or make plans. However, because it follows the lead of its cousin, the brain, the mind also gets frightened. It will ask, am I safe? Will they love me? What if I'm wrong? The mind needs proof. It wants to be right. The mind will sort through all the information in the swirling thoughts and conclude, I need to understand this now. Unfortunately, it can only understand what it already knows, which keeps the mind stuck in the past. When you follow your mind, you also become stuck in the past, revisiting what you have already seen, heard, and experienced, even if it has no relevance to what's happening now. When you clear out fear, shame, and old programming, your mind becomes a temple again. Spiritual hygiene practices clear the mind, allowing it to serve truth. Consciousness, the eternal light. Consciousness is your eternal essence. It does not need to be purified. It simply needs space. Consciousness is not thought or thinking. It is knowing. When someone calls your name, you don't think about responding because you know your name. This is how your consciousness functions. Spiritual hygiene clears the fog that clouds consciousness, allowing divine awareness to shine through your choices, thoughts, and actions. It is the part of you that watches the mind. It feels like stillness, like breath. It is there, but you don't have to work on it or with it. It is the whisper that says, you are more than this moment. So, if your mind is asking, wait, didn't you say the mind is an altar? Now you're saying I can't trust it? You can say, yes, the mind is a beautiful altar, but only when I clean it, quiet it, and place my soul at the center. It is not either or, it is both and. The mind becomes sacred when it stops pretending to be God and starts listening for the voice of the heart, which speaks for God. When we practice spiritual hygiene, we are doing more than just smudging and praying. We are cleaning distortions, calming the mind, softening the body, and making room for the truth that has never left our spiritual core. What spiritual hygiene does is that it clears overactivations, grounds the nervous system in the brain, the physical processor. It cleanses beliefs, thoughts, distortions, and ego loops in the mind, the emotional energetic filter. It creates space for soul authority to rise in consciousness, the divine awareness, and spiritual hygiene realigns all levels to sacred wholeness, the spiritual core, our living truth center. A sacred pause. Take a breath. Get still. Ask yourself gently, when was the last time I trusted my heart over my head? What truth have I silenced because I feared I wouldn't be loved? What would happen?
There's a fire inside me that never goes out, a burning in my spirit that removes every doubt. I carry this fire wherever I go, a radiant power, an undying glow. I am the one who keeps going when others quit. I am the one who finds the light when things go dim. My fire is ancient and it knows no end. It bends with the wind, but it always bends back again. I carry the fire of my ancestors' dream, the power of a lineage deep as any stream. Their hopes are my courage, their prayers are my wings. I carry the fire through every season spring brings. My passion is not dependent on circumstances. My fire burns through setbacks and second chances. I am lit from within with a permanent flame. I carry the fire and I'm never the same. I carry the fire. I am the fire. I carry the fire. I was made from fire. I carry the fire that never goes out. I carry the fire. I know what I'm about. Fire, fire, fire. I carry the fire. Fire. I carry the fire. My vision is the fuel that keeps my fire bright. I see exactly where I'm going in the night. My dreams are the kindling that feeds my flame. I carry the fire and I'm here to stake my claim. The world may be cold, but my fire keeps me warm. My inner light is stronger than any storm. I protect my flame by knowing what I allow. I carry the fire and I carry it now. My purpose is the oxygen my fire breathes. My commitment is the shield that no one needs to question my fire or challenge my light. I carry the fire and I burn just right. I carry the fire. I am the fire. I carry the fire. I was made from fire. I carry the fire that never goes out. I carry the fire. I know what I'm about. Fire, fire, fire. Fire. I carry the fire. Fire. I carry the fire. I am on fire with purpose and drive. I am on fire. I'm so glad I'm alive. I am on fire with love and with light. I am on fire and I burn just right. I carry the fire. I carry the fire. I carry the fire into the night. At the end of this journey and at the very start, the fire inside me is the beat of my heart. I close this chapter with the burning soul. This fire I carry is what makes me whole. I carry the fire of hope into tomorrow, a light so bright it cancels out all sorrow. I am the carrier of something great. I carry the fire and it cannot wait. This is my